A thread by Thomas Wichter at social.quodverum.com. There we go. Trump will be inaugurated on January 20th. State of emergency declared in D.C. Let's take a look at the emergency declaration, shall we? Today, President Donald J. Trump declared that an emergency exists in the District of Columbia and ordered federal assistance to supplement the district's response efforts due to the emergency conditions resulting from the 59th presidential inauguration from January 11th to January 24th, 2021. The president's action authorizes the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, to organize all disaster relief efforts which have the purpose of alleviating the hardship and suffering caused by the emergency on the local population and to provide appropriate assistance for required emergency measures authorized under Title V of the Stafford Act to save lives and to protect property and public health and safety and to lessen or avert the threat of a catastrophe in the District of Columbia. Specifically, FEMA is authorized to identify, mobilize, and provide at its discretion equipment and resources necessary to alleviate the impacts of the emergency. Emergency protective measures, limited to direct federal assistance, will be provided at 100% federal funding. Pete Gaynor, Administrator, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, named Thomas J. Fargione as the Federal Coordinating Officer for Federal Recovery Operations in the affected area. Thomas continues. No way this is necessary for Biden. It's because Trump is planning on rubbing his victory in the faces of the Democrats and all the others who tried to destroy our freedoms. The state of emergency allows Trump to prevent any protesting in the district, and it allows him to have plenty of his supporters present. Remember, it was probably less than 200 who went into the Capitol. Their biographies show people who are or were totally insane. The reason we don't allow the Q folks to hold court here is that the movement attracts too many unstable people. As we've said over and over, the subject isn't banned. It just depends on how it's raised. You can't post things and claim that they are rock solid true when there's no evidence whatsoever. Over on YouTube, I'm accused of misleading people. How? I say up front, I'm just making guesses, and I have no sources. Here's what they're telling me. Guessing is wrong. This is conditioning people to accept authoritarianism. I don't trust anyone who claims to be in the know because what Trump pulled off was too important to allow more than the operators themselves to have the information. Trump told Pompeo, I will have a second term, and that was enough for Pompeo. Pence knows everything. That's how he guided Acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller through what had to be the worst 4 days of his life. Let me tell you from personal experience that having suspicions is nothing at all like having absolute proof. Very late in life, I had to reevaluate everything I thought I knew. Even though I thought I was prepared for finding incontrovertible evidence that I was right, finding it was a gut punch. It didn't make me collapse emotionally, but the rage I felt made all my previous anger look like a childish snit. I still go back and review this evidence periodically to make sure that I'm right. It's exactly like when my travel pouch was stolen on the train in the former Yugoslavia. The evidence that it was gone was incontrovertible, but I searched the compartment over and over. See, it's exactly like finding yourself in a nightmare from which you can't wake up. I've had incredibly realistic nightmares in which I murdered innocent people. I've also had nightmares in which I was in hell, not in flames, but in Gothic castles populated by the damned, all of whom were happy to be in there, reveling in filth and animalistic sex and hatred of God. I wandered around in total shock, wondering what I'd done to deserve to be there. Waking up from these nightmares was a relief I can't describe. Before anyone makes any statements about religion, you need to know one thing. My own experiences with the divine far outweigh yours. Personal experiences. I'll leave it at that. Don't preach to me. I'm doing fine, and I'm on the path that suits me best. I have it from the highest possible authority. End of discussion on that subject. But now, imagine not being able to wake up from a nightmare that you're in hell, and you realize it's not a nightmare. It's real. Pence guided Miller through his loss of faith. To do so, Pence had to be in the know. My guess is Pence knows more than Trump. Think of that, you Pence haters. Why would Trump need to know the details? It was almost certainly Ezra Cohen Watnick, ECW, who put the operation in motion. He briefed Pence enough that Pence would be able to brief Miller. Since ECW is a former soldier, he was able to brief Miller on the tactical and technological details. My guess is that each team simply reported success or failure. Only Miller got the full reports once he was acting Secretary of Defense. That was why he reported that special operators were to report to him personally. So ECW gave the mission to the teams, and they kept the evidence until Miller was in place. That then there was only one transfer. It's not like a movie where they watch the progress from a central hub. In the case of killing al-Baghdadi, it was not a big deal to have a live feed to Trump's Situation Room, but no way would something like that be risked with getting the election fraud evidence that the military got. And just to make sure that everybody is clear, I'm just guessing. But since this could have been a trap that would wipe out all of Trump's enemies with one blow, and since it was easy for the military to do it, what are the odds that Trump didn't do it? I'm a layman and I saw the possibilities. Do you seriously think people who are not required to have a security clearance, Trump and Pence, didn't see the possibilities? Trump and Pence must be given all classified information when they ask for it. They know things I can't begin to comprehend. The people who raided the Capitol building are primitives. Trump and Pence are not.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.